Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love. Just before we get into today's video, I introduced Bugsy Malone to you. She's behind the wall in a second, but she'll be coming out. Please do me a favour, smash the like button for me on the video if you enjoy the content. If you haven't already, and I know 50% of you haven't, there's always 50% give or take people that watch these videos every day that don't subscribe. So hit the subscribe button, it's free to do. You could be one of the last few people to help me get over the 20k threshold, which is very exciting. And it really does support the channel. Hit the notification bell as well and drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And I think you might be able to just see Bugsy on the side there of the wall. She is going to be my metaphor for this morning's video, because there's noise out about Tottenham. I'll start with that. James Maddison, it's not good. We were worried about him. We already know we're out without Udogie for tomorrow's game, without Romero for the next 3, without Van der Ven for probably 7 or 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, who knows? We'll find out today. Bissouma's on a yellow card threat, and we weren't sure about Maddison. We're still not sure about Pedro Porro either. He missed training. So it's looking pretty bleak, but Maddison has pulled out of the England squad. This morning, Tottenham Hotspur announced. So he won't be playing for England over the next 2 weeks, which means he won't be playing tomorrow. And so it presents a real issue. We've got 25%, maybe maximum 25% of our starting back 4 against Wolves. And we're also without our most creative, potent threat, who has been responsible for so much of what's been good about us going forward this season in the past 11 games. And it's easy to sit there and think, our season fell apart in the space of 5 minutes. We were 1-0 up against Chelsea, and then in that 5-minute period, we lost Romero, we lost the goal, the penalty, we lost Maddison, and we lost Van der Ven. 5 minutes can change a season. That's an easy way to think about it. But you know what? Out of adversity comes opportunity. And this is where the tale of Bugsy Malone this morning comes into play. You might know, if you watch this channel, that she likes to chase squirrels. I think it's her dream to catch a squirrel one day. I don't know what she would actually ever do if she caught it. She's not the sort of dog that would, I don't believe, would do the squirrel any harm. But she likes to chase them more than she chases cats. And she always ends up missing out on her squirrel because the squirrels are too fast, too agile, and can climb. And generally speaking, the chase is fun to watch, but you know how it's going to end. Today, however, we're walking out, just about to do this 5 minutes ago, and a squirrel falls or jumps from a tree and literally lands 3 feet in front of Bugsy. And the squirrel looks at Bugsy, and Bugsy looks at the squirrel, and all of Bugsy's dreams were presented to her in a moment. There was enough space between where the squirrel was on the tree, and if Bugsy had been on, if Bugsy had seized the moment, carpe diem, seized the day, and she could have caught her squirrel and either been friends with it or otherwise. But she didn't. Bugsy was looking at the squirrel was looking back, and it was the squirrel that was first to realise what was going on. The threat was taken seriously more quickly than the opportunity was. The squirrel pounced. Bugsy then realised what was going on, chased after it, and once again the squirrel got away. And Bugsy was devastated. You could see the look on her face. She was tail down and a little bit embarrassed. And so I fear that within that tale, this might be really boring, but I'm going to carry on anyway. I'll be making a silly little comment here. But within that story, there is the situation that presents itself to Tottenham right now. Not necessarily to Tottenham, but to certain people within Tottenham. There is an opportunity to grasp something. Who will start in for Van der Ven and Romero tomorrow? Will it be Eric Dyer? Is Eric Dyer putting himself firmly in the shop window for a January move? Is Eric Dyer going to seize the moment and prove or suggest to everybody that you shouldn't write off me, mate, I am not done? What about Ash Phillips, 18 years old? He was left out of the under-21 team. He's physically capable. He's a huge guy, 6'3", broad as the day is long, fast, technically good from what I've heard. is he going to seize the day? And I'll be honest, Wolves away without Neto, Wolves are a decent team at home, very good team at home. They're a volatile team, and sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't, but they're a good team, especially at home. But there is more difficult games that you could be put in front of as your debut. Ash Phillips, are you going to seize the moment, bro? Are you going to chase your squirrel and catch it? We'll find out. What about in place of Maddison? What about Maddison's replacement? Is it time for Gio Lo Celso? Is he going to come in? Is he still unfit? I think he's back. I'm not entirely sure though. He might still be out injured. Are we going to do something creatively crazy like bring in Decky into the 10 and then put speed and width out on the left and the right, put Brennan Johnson in his natural right wing position, put Brian Hill in his natural left wing position? There's no Richarlison. And what about Sonny? We could sit there and have absolute pace at the top end of the pitch in Brian Hill, Johnson and Son, with creativity, technique and a little mix of youth and age, and both of these players could seize the moment, seize the day. And Decky might just emerge as, through hook or by crook, a brilliant fit for our creative options in the middle. We've been waiting to see him in the middle. Some of us have been waiting to see him placed on the left-hand side because we're so frustrated with his predictable one-on-one techniques. When he's on the right, he likes to cut back and it erodes space, and it usually breaks down because he's easy to defend against in that regard. There's opportunities presenting themselves absolutely everywhere here. It depends on what Ange wants to do. He might want to bring in Rodrigo Bentancur and put him in the 10, which to me will result in a little bit less creativity than having Decky in there, but may offer a little bit more kind of control of the midfield and therefore increase the likelihood of Tottenham dominating possession to the tune of 60, 70, 72, 73%. And if we do that, then we're obviously going to limit the chances of Wolves to break against this vulnerable defence. What's also interesting is that if we do go with that high-paced, creative attack against a Wolves team who might look at Tottenham's back four and think, you know what, naturally I think we'd probably sit in against a team like Tottenham and not park the bus but play counter-attacking football. But they might look at Tottenham and think, no, let's go at them. Let's test that defence, which opens the game up. And Tottenham, let's be honest, have struggled in our games this season where we've looked frustratingly incapable of breaking down teams. It's been against the teams that sit in and do the low block, and we've relied on the magic of Maddison and Sonny to get the job done. Well, maybe, just maybe, guys, in this particular system or setup, if Wolves do fancy themselves to come out and have a crack, then maybe, just maybe, that actually helps Tottenham and kind of erodes the drop-off in quality creatively from the absence of James Maddison. I think it's going to be a fascinating encounter. The news that Maddison is out for an extended period of time is devastating, but never before have I been so happy that there's an international break coming, and hopefully that will chew up some of the time that it's going to take for some of these guys to recover. You need Bissouma to be on his best behaviour, because if he gets a yellow card, then in the game against Aston Villa, which is next up after the international break, we would then also be without Maddison, Bissouma, Van der Ven and Romero, despite having Udogie back, one in, one out in terms of pivotal and vital players. So unfortunately, I don't think Bissouma's going to make it all the way through until when the yellow card things get wiped off before another yellow card. So he's going to have to get that suspension at some point. And I don't know, let me know your thoughts whether or not, is it better for it to happen in a game where Tottenham's chances of winning are probably really small now anyway, like against Manchester City? Is it better to try and get him to have that yellow card in that Aston Villa game? I'm not sure. Sometimes you have to take your medicine, although that's obviously not Ange Ball philosophy, is it? We've discovered this week, that Ange Ball is very much stubborn in its thought processes, for the bitter or the better, But yeah, to me, guys, I just feel like tomorrow's game against Wolves presents itself, and this is the way I'm choosing to view it. I'm choosing to see it with a glass half full approach, that sometimes these moments of crazy sadness when you think, oh, everything's going against you, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Well, maybe, just maybe, Lady Luck and the gods will smile on the brave. Fortune favours the brave is what they say. And maybe, just maybe, this moment is a moment where you'll see some players step up who have otherwise not had the chance to prove themselves because of a steady 11 being placed from Ange most of the season. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to see some people step up and stake their claim to not be overlooked when this period of bad luck is behind us and we get back to full strength options. These are the moments where those guys that are currently second fiddle get to stake their claim, put their hand up in the air and put their head above the parapet. I think that Ash Phillips is the right option. I actually still think Eric Dyer is going to have a go as well and do us proud, even if it's one of his final games for the club. I still think he can do it. I'm going to err on the side of optimism on this one. How do you feel, guys? Are you absolutely heartbroken by the fact that Maddison is also out? Or do we have options? I think we do. And I want to see what your starting 11 will be. Mine, for me, I'm going to go with the starting 11 guys of Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro, fingers crossed he's fit, at right back, Eric Dyer and Ash Phillips as centre backs, and Emerson Royale in at left back against Huang. Scary, but it's possible we could come out of that one. The midfield, I think, is going to be Bissouma, Sarr, and as much as I'm more interested to see something creative happen here, try something else, I don't see why not. I expect him to play Bentancur in the 10 to offer more control of the midfield and hopefully dominate possession more. And then I think he'll stick with the same front three of Brennan Johnson on the left, Sonny up top and Kulu on the right. That's what I expect to happen. But if I see something crazy like Brian Hill starting and Kulusevski in the 10 and Brennan Johnson on the right with Sonny up top, I'm all about that. I'm all for it. You know, if he says we're going to have a go, let's see what Brian Hill can do, because I think that guy is just waiting to finally show his stuff for Tottenham, and he might just get an extended run in the team here. Let me know your thoughts, guys. You can also catch us later on this evening, 7:30 UK time, with Adam William Cahill's coming on. And you may remember from a fan cam from a couple of weeks ago, an American man by the name of Benny. He came on to the fan cam. He had wonderful feedback from everybody in the comment section. Well, I've tracked him down and he's coming on to make his debut on the panel tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing that and to meeting him in person, or not in person, but virtually. And we're going to have a good chat about what we're going to do tonight and obviously how do we cope going forward. Like, subscribe and comment, guys. And as always, bye-bye.